Hello everyone, welcome to the Scumdogs Kennel. I'm your host, Chris Williams, and in today's Cryptid Corner mini-episode, I have even more supernatural stories to read to you all today, folks. Both of them are truly interesting. I have a shapeshifter story and I have another encounter with a dogman. Let's get into the first story, shapeshifting creature, late night experience in a cul-de-sac near a creek, and read exactly what happened one night and what was experienced. At approximately 1 o'clock a.m., a quiet residential cul-de-sac became the setting for a deeply unsettling encounter that defies conventional explanation. What began as a mundane late-night routine quickly escalated into a prolonged observation of a creature that seemed to transform as it moved. The witness watched the entire event unfold under clear lighting, raising troubling questions about what was seen. Let's get into the actual story now, folks. The witness stated that around 1 o'clock a.m., they stepped onto their front porch to put out dry food for neighborhood cats. As they opened the door and stepped outside, they startled something that had been eating directly on the porch. When the door shut behind them, the creature immediately moved away, descending the porch stairs toward the driveway. At first, the witness described the being as small and rounded, almost shapeless. No legs were visible, and the face was never seen because it did not turn around. Long brown hair completely covered its body and hung down to the ground. As it moved away, it waddled quickly, though not at a high speed, and made no sound. As the creature progressed down the driveway, the witness observed a disturbing change. The being began to grow taller while in motion. The long brown hair gradually disappeared and was replaced by short, darkened hair. Or just darker hair, folks. As this occurred, legs began to form. The transformation appeared continuous and fluid, not abrupt, which is something we've heard with other shapeshifter and transformation stories before, folks. Very interesting. Let's continue. Initially, the witness considered the possibility that it was a raccoon. However, by the time the creature reached the end of the driveway, it had grown to the height of a deer. It then ran across the street without making any noise. The witness observed it clearly at the sidewalk with a single step, at which point they distinctly heard the sound of a hoof striking the pavement. The creature continued across the front lawn of a nearby home, again producing no sound. When it crossed a concrete patio, it remained completely silent. During this final phase, the witness saw long black hair grow along the creature's body, flowing behind it as it ran. Well, that is certainly something, isn't it, folks? What was this creature? Was it perhaps some sort of alien shapeshifter? A skinwalker, perhaps? A not deer, as well, could be considered? Because it was about the size of a deer at one point, folks, so the idea does come to mind. Whatever this entity is, folks, is certainly terrifying, and I can imagine the thoughts went through the witness's head were just, what in God's name is that? But let's continue and talk a little more, folks. The witness followed the creature visually until it passed beyond all available lighting and disappeared into darkness. The area was well illuminated, with a porch light on, a street light directly in front of the house, and an unusual number of neighboring porch lights active at that hour. The street was narrow, and the end of the cul-de-sac opened toward a field and a creek running behind nearby properties. The creature appeared to flee in that direction. Several days later, the witness spoke with a neighbor who lived within the same cul-de-sac. After hearing the full account, the neighbor paused and remarked only that strange things happen. She then added that she regularly sees many different animals emerging from the creek area. Now, are these actual animals, folks, or forms that this shapeshifting entity takes? Is it actually a skinwalker, folks? Because this entity, while terrifying, doesn't give the same sense of evil that basically skinwalker accounts give. It's also very different, because usually these accounts have the skinwalker spooking people, terrifying them. This entity just wanted to escape. But the fact that it's been seen over and over again makes you think that it must live in that area. Very interesting account, folks, and makes you wonder what is actually out there right now. And that might always be out there all the time. Either way, folks, let's move on, and we can discuss this a little more after the next article. Teen confronts upright wolf-like entity in suburban mid-Michigan neighborhood, and read exactly how this teen dealt with encountering a werewolf, or, as they're now known, dogmen. That's if dogmen aren't basically something we've seen before in other myths and legends like the Sinisalafe. Either way, folks, let's continue with this article. In the early morning hours of a quiet night in mid-Michigan, a teenager stepped outside for a familiar routine and instead found themselves face to face with something profoundly unnatural. What began as a routine trip to let a dog outside escalated into a brief but terrifying encounter with a towering wolf-like figure that defied conventional explanation. The details, timing, and behavior are closely aligned with a growing body of reports associated with the dogman phenomena. But enough with all that. Let's get into the actual story now, folks. The witness resides in a small mid-Michigan town surrounded by farmland, though their home sits within a well-populated residential area near the local downtown district. The street is neither remote nor poorly lit, with neighboring houses close together, making what occurred all the more unsettling. At approximately 2:30 a.m., the witness followed their usual nighttime routine with their elderly dog. The dog, highly trained and accustomed to being let out without a leash or a fence, stood unusually still on the porch. Instead of immediately heading into the yard, he remained focused on something across the street. Following the dog's line of sight, the witness observed a large canine form moving slowly through a neighbor's yard roughly 50 feet away. At first glance, it resembled a large dog or wolf, but its proportions were wrong. The body appeared elongated, its movement unnatural, and its entire form seemed oddly indistinct or blurred, as though it did not fully belong in the environment. As the realization set in that this animal posed a serious threat, the witness attempted to alert their dog to return inside quietly. The dog immediately responded and ran back toward the door. At that exact moment, the creature began to turn toward the witness. The movement was slow, mechanical, and deeply unsettling. The witness described it as feeling artificial, almost like watching animatronics. A powerful and instinctive sense washed over them that they were witnessing something they were never meant to see. For a brief second, the witness looked away to usher the dog inside and close the door. When they looked back up, the creature had somehow moved approximately 30 feet without making a sound. It now stood in the neighbor's driveway on its hind legs, towering an estimated 7 to 8 feet tall, staring directly at the witness. The sudden relocation, the silence, and the upright posture caused immediate panic. The witness looked away once more to lock the door. When they looked back, the creature was gone with no audible indication of departure. The entire encounter lasted no more than 30 seconds. And it didn't have to, last any longer than that, folks. Get the idea through that this is a truly terrifying encounter. Now, this being sounds very odd and different from other dogman encounters I've heard so far, folks, and we'll discuss that in a moment. But first, let's finish this particular story off. Shaken, the witness attempted to ground themselves by resuming the routine of sharing a snack with their dog. Still unsettled, they went downstairs to tell their brother what had happened, needing reassurance that the experience was real and not a waking dream. In the days following, the witness shared the experience with family and close contacts. Those who knew them well were disturbed by the intensity of their reaction, knowing that the witness had never previously believed in cryptids or similar phenomena. While searching online for explanations, the witness encountered descriptions of the dogman that matched their experience with alarming accuracy, leading them to believe they had encountered one directly. Maybe, folks, or maybe it was some sort of artificial being. Remember, it moved robotically to this man. Maybe this was some sort of government experiment, and it looked like a dogman because it was some sort of camouflage, because anyone who actually witnessed it would basically conflate it with dogman or maybe even Bigfoot. That could be what we're talking about here, folks. But I'm not quite sure if that's the case. Remember, there are too many parallels with other dogman stories that basically you must take note. The sudden movement of almost 30 feet to the witness's driveway, folks, is something we've seen with other cryptid accounts where they basically move so fast they can appear in an eye blink. Sometimes basically almost disappearing if you take your eyes off them, like in this particular account, folks. But it also makes you wonder, maybe this being was a shapeshifter like we read in the first account, basically taking forms easily as it was moving along. Maybe that explains the robotic movement this witness saw when he was observing this dogman. Maybe it was changing form. He didn't realize it, but we don't know for sure. Either way, a truly bizarre account, folks. Both stories make you wonder what the truth is, folks. Are these things related to each other, or are they different phenomena that people are seeing? All we know for sure, folks, is that there are too many accounts that basically, say that they're all just hoaxes. I think there's something out there. But folks, we're now at the end, so please go subscribe to my YouTube channel, Read Comics That Are Bad For You. You can use the YouTube link down below in the descriptions or the chat to do so. Hit that like button for me. Make sure you're still subscribed. Leave some comments down below. Hit that bell for notifications. Make sure to part of the bell. That'll give you all future notifications. And please, share this video out. I'm Chris Williams from the Scumdog's Kennel. Thank you all for joining me. I'll be back again tomorrow with another great video, so be sure to come back again then. Till next time, folks, I'll see you all again soon.